They have 20 minutes or so talking about and showing all of the people who have disappeared, the vast number of people who have disappeared in this hotel over the last 8 years. And then these guys are just like, yeah, we're going to go in and it's probably going to be fine.
Run, Molly, run! Let me, Molly's in the basement with her friends.
Oh, okay, we're leaving. Go.
I mean, you could see in the footage from the first film, which was widely released as a documentary in this world afterwards, that, like, these hooded figures approach this woman who's chained to a wall, and then, like, 5 seconds later they walk away and she's just a skeleton on the floor. And people don't think that, like, any of that video is a hoax, but they think that it's not haunted. I don't... Okay. So there's some silly logic in this one, but fortunately, hear me out, the story of this one, they're just gonna do... It's awful. Hellhouse LLC II, the Abaddon Hotel, is not about Hellhouse. That was their haunted house company. They're all dead, so weird name for the franchise. Anyway, it features the sole surviving documentarian from the making of the Hellhouse story, trying to convince people 8 years later that the 2 other people on his documentary crew went into the Abaddon Hotel and died. Did actually die. Wait. There's people genuinely accusing him of having, like, hidden away his 2 friends and told their families they're dead for 8 years to sell a documentary. No, come on. Okay, whatever. So that's happening, and then this new documentary crew who doesn't... I can't tell. They don't believe in the stuff going on, but also think there's some really crazy stuff went on. They want to go into the hotel, into the basement, the worst part of the hotel, to get some evidence that the former owner who killed himself and lots of other people 30 years ago is responsible for the disappearances of guests at the hotel. We already know that he is a mass murderer and convinced all these people to commit suicide with him. You want to accuse this long dead man of a few more crimes. Oh, really does feel like they went, oh, maybe the first film wasn't goofy enough. And it was. I mean, I enjoyed the first film, but it was already a little bit silly. This is so much more so. I mean, there's the 2 gay guys who you can tell are gay because they've just been to a fashion show and they can't finish a sentence without saying, oh, honey, or oh, sweetie. Oh. And all the other characters. I mean, there's so many videos of, like, people going in, horrible, freaky things happening to them. And yet, somehow this guy who put together the documentary about the hotel, like, doesn't really believe that something horrible is going to happen if he goes in. Like, pretty confused about that bit. But I'm so confused about all of the character actions. Like, they know, they can see from all these videos that the hotel plays tricks on people. And these people, like, the other documentary crew that's with him going in, they don't necessarily think that there's actually anything supernatural going on. Don't know how after they've watched all that, but anyway, like, they know, anyone who believes in this stuff, that the hotel plays tricks on people and, you know, does all this shit. And yet, like, they just go in and they don't make a plan and they never really go like, oh god, this could be dangerous. Like, they just wander in, and then with like 40 minutes left, after like 50 minutes of the film, they go like, oh god, it's got us here, it's got us, no, we shouldn't have come. And it's like, yeah, that was the most obvious thing in the world. Like, just one of the most grim cases of character stupidity in a horror film I've ever seen, which is really saying something. This does have some moments. This was my second time watching it. The first time I dismissed it pretty quickly because it's bad. And I mean, it is, but it's not like ridiculously bad, because as silly as the story and characters and all that are, they were a bit silly in the first one, and we let it away with it a bit more. And it was scarier, it was better on the scares. This one, though, it's, you know, it does a pretty good job of spreading the scares out throughout it. But the panel show concept, that is... oh, that's bad. Especially considering the big final twist. Like, oh, it just makes it so silly and bordering on comical if you actually stop to think about it. It is rough in a lot of the story, and the acting is bad. And I mean, the grand finale of the film, I don't want to spoil too much here necessarily, although I don't know why you would care. But the grand finale of this film is like a 10-minute monologue. But it also does the thing where it like tries to add context to previous like mysteries and characters by bringing them back in for like flashback scenes. And they already had in the first film like a lot of open-ended mysteries and things like that. So it really shouldn't have needed to do that, and yet it did anyway. There's just, yeah, it is a goofy film. It's almost watchable, but it really makes you just go like, oh, at times. Everything about the panel show concept. And they just throw that in randomly, like scenes from that, like near the end. They keep throwing in scenes from that, which really ruins the, like, building up to a big finale tension, you know, that it's building. And it never really tries to, because it just kind of throws all the scares in, like, with half an hour left, and then does this 10-minute monologue to finish, which was grim. So I'm giving, maybe it's best to leave some of these mysteries unsolved, because it makes them a lot scarier. 1.5 stars. Also, there's only so many times you can pull off the, oh my goodness, you were interviewing a dead person this whole time card. Like, they do it twice in this film, and they already used that twist in the first film. It's just... Whew.